Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Life Leadership and Pursuit of Greatness YouTube channel. I'm Tim Lovell.
I'm Dwayne Mathis.
Just a reminder why you need to tune in is because when you leave this YouTube channel video, you're going to feel refreshed and repurposed as a leader to take on the challenges that everyday leadership brings. We know that you have a lot of options when it comes to looking at how you can lead your program and your business. We really appreciate you taking the time. So if you don't want to miss an episode, click the link below and subscribe so you don't miss an opportunity to get better. Today we're talking with Coach Kurt Hines from California.
Yeah, and Coach Hines really focused on perspective drives performance. Some of the three takeaways that Tim and I took from this was his first one: what is essential? What is essential for us versus others. The second one here is live in the moment, be where your feet are, and the third one is long-term versus short-term. What's your ultimate goal? We're not going to give away all the nuggets, but Tim, what did you take away from the first one?
Well, when Coach Hines talked about what's essential, he came up with faith, family, exercise, and football. Those are the essential pieces that he's come away with from this COVID-19 quarantine. And this opportunity is really what I'm calling the COVID-19 quarantine. Is a chance for everyone to reflect and come out better. You have a choice. You can get better, or you can sit and be comfortable living in your own space. I think Coach Hines has really demonstrated that he's willing to be better and be more purposed in how he handles his business. And what's essential for him isn't necessarily essential for you and me.
Right, and I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for me, was how Coach Hines was really displaying what we call empathy. Empathy, the definition of empathy is basically allowing yourself to walk in someone else's shoes and understand that, my situation is going to be different from the next person, and so on and so on. So instead of just always jumping to the conclusion where they're, having an excuse or something like that, or they just don't want to do it, let me put myself in their shoes so I can understand what's going on in their life.
Yeah. So that moves us into the second point: is be where your feet are, be in the moment. What was your takeaway from that?
Well, this is something that's been present in my program. I know it's been present in your program, but with be where your feet are, don't live in the past. Don't worry about, my mother-in-law always says, don't borrow trouble. Don't think about the problems before they get there. So, while it's good to kind of try to anticipate things, don't forget where you are in that moment so you can appreciate what's going on and really soak it in. And, for me, that really kind of hit home, just for the fact of, I took it as, maybe when I'm not on the coaching field, I need to put my full attention into whatever I'm doing at that time, whether it's being with my family or being as a teacher in the classroom. Don't try to, shortchange those other things as well. Put your full effort into it.
Put your phone up, put your eyes on it, engage in a conversation. And Coach Hines really demonstrated that to us when we were getting ready to start our podcast. We were looking at spending an hour with Coach Hines, and we were getting ready to jump on. He goes, "Hold on, I got a phone call." So he took a phone call, put us on mute, and talked with a young man he's been trying to reach for 2 weeks about his program. Just wanted to check in and let the kid know that he cared about him and was worried about him, and left the phone call with, "Hey man, let's check in again soon. I love you." And I don't know how, if you're a kid in that program, how you wouldn't feel blessed and empowered by Coach Hines.
Yeah, it just really kind of magnifies, the relationship piece that he has with his players. And ultimately, you and I both know that special things happen when relationships are built amongst coaches and players and players. The best teams that I've been a part of have been the ones that have had those long-lasting relationships established between all parties involved. So that was just a really special moment for you and I to be able to witness between Coach Hines and his player that he was able to finally get a hold of. So the third one here, Tim, long-term versus short-term. What were your big takeaways?
Well, I'm not going to give everything away, but Coach Hines' definition of success certainly leans more towards the long term than the short term. And tune into the full hour podcast so you can get his real definition, because it's a lot different than what people think success is. And I was genuinely inspired by that, because it allowed me to take some perspective in and what is it I'm really trying to do as a coach, and what is our mission as educators and people that are surrounding ourselves with young people that are going to be the future leaders of our country. And if all we do is focus on the here and now in terms of winning and losing, I think we're missing the big picture.
But it's, that's the thing that, so many people that are at that, 80,000 feet view of your program or whatever you're doing, only look at that as, you're being successful in a program. I mean, it's so easy to be judged just by wins and losses alone, especially in the coaching profession. But you and I both know there's so much underneath that goes into play. Especially, depending on if you're at a big school versus small school. You lose one athlete. My first year being a head coach at Springville High School, second game of the season, my starting quarterback breaks his, fourth metatarsal in his hand. And, he's done. I go from a senior quarterback to a freshman quarterback. There's so many other things at play that you have no control over. And But one thing that you do have control over is building those relationships for the long term, not the short term. And, I think one of the greatest compliments as a coach that you can ever receive is being included in special life events that go on in a child's, a former player or student athlete that you've coached, whether it be a graduation, a wedding invite, or something, a birthday party or anything like that they think so much of you that they want to include you in that moment is to me one of the greatest honors a coach can receive.
So to recap here, Dwayne, we wanted to find out, in terms of perspective driving performance, Coach Hines defined what is essential. He talked about being in the moment, and he talked about the benefit of the long-term vision versus the short-term vision. Our next YouTube video we're going to recap is Coach Jim Akins, throws coach at Burlington Central High School. He's an Illinois high school track cross-country Hall of Famer. He's written numerous articles. He's coached football, soccer, track. He's familiar with the process, and he's familiar with the mistakes that he's made. And he has some really interesting takes that you and I are going to discuss in our next video. So we can't wait for that.
Yeah. Again, please, don't miss out on an opportunity to get better in whatever field that you're in, whether it's coaching, education, or business, whatever it may be. And the way that you don't miss out on any opportunity to get better is by liking and subscribing, ring that bell below. And, if you have any comments, all of our contact information is below. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear your feedback. Leave us a comment, whatever you want to do. We just look forward to continuing to grow along with you on this journey.
You can email us at lifeleadpg@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on our next episode. Until then, let's keep chasing life, leadership, and the pursuit of greatness.